Hi there! As you can see, some sorts of shunting maneuvers are taking place. It's as if the ladies currently in traffic have decided on a meeting of their own, as thought they had something in common. Admittedly, they are a bit cramped because we still don't have a fully functional layout, and on that topic we have a ton of ideas and methods for modernization and setup, but almost zero actual progress. Shame on us. Shame on us. To make up for our absence from the channel, as well as the lack of pleasurable activity with the models in the collection, today we thought of doing a serial presentation of all digital couplers we can use on the infamous diorama, and about whose user experience we can speak. Needless to say, we did intense rehearsals for this presentation, and that's due to, or because of, the multitude of configurations chosen and proposed by each manufacturer for digitally operated couplers. And while it's fun, it's also very challenging and sometimes downright frustrating. As you can see, these are pretty much the working conditions. The first coupler model comes from the past. Fleischmann proposed this coupler many years ago, back when it hadn't yet been wiped out in H0 by ROCO. It is 100% a trademark reference and dedicated strictly to the famous and well-known couplers produced by this manufacturer for collectors. This type of digitally operated coupler is not only pleasant but lovable, because it allows operation that it is as simple as it is efficient, generating a great deal of realism. Coupling is done by pressure when contacting the train, and uncoupling is performed in a highly realistic, static manner with guaranteed success. Only on slightly tilted tracks can it occasionally fail to uncouple. Today's second presentation simply couldn't skip the famous and older ROCO couplers. We believe they've been around for about more than 16 years. They seem like the expression of something typically German, a sure mix of efficiency, durability and solidity. Along with the trains they pull, they've also been carrying small shortcomings for years. Issues caused by magnetic mechanisms, excessive height for locomotives with low clearance, as well as the significant likelihood of losing their load on certain inclines when the track angle changes. It is probably the most widely used and well-known digital coupler in the world, thanks to both its durability and its price. Coupling is achieved by the model by pushing the train, and uncoupling usually follows an automatically programmed sequence. The third presentation throws us forward in time because the film model shows the latest edition of the already famous Marklin Trix telex coupler. We admit that this coupling-uncoupling device is impressive because it offers an extremely successful package. Solid connection to the train, guaranteed maneuver, reliability and authentic realism for this type of operation. In addition, the digital control project delivered for this coupler allows both fully manual control for shunting and a very well calculated automatic sequence for uncoupling. Also, we were never able to lose the train it was pulling. On the contrary, sometimes it fails to uncouple. Another advantage for collector is that this coupler also works with the widely used universal couplers. The fourth digital coupler model is Brawa's proprietary design. The concept is interesting and has great potential for coupling trains equipped with universal couplers. However, we have suffered from a design flaw in the Gravita model when it comes to Brawa's own couplers, as the mechanism jams not frequently but annoyingly often without being obstructed by any force. Otherwise, for this digital coupler as well, the realism of typical maneuver operations is quite remarkable. When it doesn't jam, this coupler invites you to perform extremely realistic coupling-uncoupling operations. The fifth presented model is ESU's proprietary coupler, and what we present today is the second edition of it. The concept, shape and size remain unchanged, and the uncoupling force is just as good as in the first edition. What ESU introduced about 3 years ago with this second version is that it can now work with most universal couplers. Their first version worked only with ROCO couplers featuring a plastic hook. It gives to the collector conductor great satisfaction during operations, but only with automatic uncoupling programming, where the slight forward push for the train before the maneuver remains a topic of debate even today. Coupling with this model is always done by impact when pushing. The sixth model presented comes from Piko. Their famous digital coupler, discreetly launched about 4 years ago, is very rarely seen on the brand's models. In a way, it resembles the Marklin Trix concept, only larger. The level of realism and pulling efficiency are unexpectedly good. On the model shown, only automatic digital programming is offered, both for coupling and uncoupling. That's the mysterious decision Piko made. Once you develop the instinctive distance to the train needed for the automatic coupling sequence, you get the satisfaction of a realistic operation typical of modern times. We would love to see it installed on many more Piko models. Let's make a small side note. For operations with universal couplers, maximum performance is achieved only with freely moving loop couplers. In the case of those with a spring, as massively delivered over the past 2 years, you may find that many setups cannot uncouple because the spring force of the manual couplers is far too strong compared to the magnet of the digital coupler. The last digital coupler model presented today is ROCO version 2. Similar in concept to the Brawa model, except that ROCO's arms is fully encased. It has unexpectedly good pulling efficiency, and the coupling and uncoupling operations generate authentic realism. However, you need to act quickly with the controls because the hook automatically returns to the raised position quite fast, so the collector operator must accelerate rapidly to take the advantage of the hooks lowered. For this model, we intentionally leave more maneuver scenarios to demonstrate, just as with Marklin, Trix and even Piko, the challenging potential of 100% manual coupling-uncoupling operations. Last but not least, our chart, created of course subjectively, but we consider that we are not far from the real situation. Until the next time, be safe and well, everyone.
You